Broken Sword, one of my favorite adventure games.
Paris, city of...
We'll just go ahead and skip that because it's meaningless. This is the director's cut of version of the game, adding a playable character. Starts at the beginning of the game now.
Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before, and written about him. The costume killer, at least that's what I'd called him. Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend. Carchon had been shot.
Looks like he got splattered by a paintball.
In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now. It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down. A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job.
By a mime.
The killer must have used a ladder to reach the window. He was long gone. Guess he folded that ladder up, popped it in his pocket and took it with him.
How do you fold a ladder up and pop it in your pocket?
The police... I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful. Aha! Nico, you are just so damn good at this stuff. Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why? Because there was something going on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived. And hey, she'd been rude to me, so she had it coming. It was a tube of acrylic paint. French ultramarine. Just the color I was after for my bathroom. I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is... Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favorite color. For God's sake, keep the damn stuff. Excuse me, madame. Yes? Why would a mime want to kill your husband? Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start. How did your husband know my father? I have no idea. You didn't know him? Thierry Collard? Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women. I am so sorry for your loss, madame. No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry. Not true. We shall see. Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss? I have no idea. His business was his business. He never told you anything? No, and frankly I preferred it that way. This is quite a scoop for you. I suppose you're already inventing the headlines. Just because I am a journalist. Don't patronize me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any moral sense at all?
Yep. Journalists are all from Hitler's kind.
I certainly don't let it get in the way of a good story. I admire your loyalty to your profession. The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact? Family, friends? No. I have no family. Pierre and I were... He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife. That was my role. He never talked, never let me in. I know one thing, madame. What? If you want to find out who killed your husband, then you let me do the job, not the police. Why? How do I know I can trust you? Because you have no choice. The police will take weeks, in which time your own life may be in danger. What? Believe me, this killer has struck before, and he will strike again. Who is to know that you are not next on his list? I don't know. All I need is a few more minutes to look around before the police come. I think perhaps you do have a moral sense, of sorts. You're not a very good liar, Nico Collard, and I share your low opinion of the police. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall. It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find. Thank
you.
The door was locked. Now we were The painting showed the Cachons together, in love. As the poet... Or did I read that in a fortune? There was the very faintest of click. Behind the picture... In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Cachon was past carrying.
Yeah, you can steal. It's okay as long as the person's dead.
As expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision. My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Cachon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda. Putting the paint straight on the cylinder would be too messy. The paint would have just soaked into the blotting paper, but... I'd spread blue paint over the bottom of the tray. It was ruined. I was a very bad girl, but also quite a clever one. I rolled the artifact in the paint until it was completely coated. I didn't need an antique tray with paints, not a lot. No. Genius! The roller and the paint worked just as I planned, but what did it say?
Sub Judice?
It was some kind of coded message. It read, Sub Judice. I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense.